Kayams. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kwadash, Tawada, Amen. Double honors to the elders of GMS who are leading in truth, in spirit, and sincerity. And double honors to all the camps on the highways and byways, bringing out the word of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, in truth, and spirit, and sincerity. All praise and glory to the Father and Son. Today I want to talk about the Vatican, the dragon that's in the book of Revelations, because people keep coming up and thinking that dragon in the book of Revelations is talking about the Vatican, and it's not talking about the Vatican. It's got nothing to do with the Vatican, the dragon in the book of Revelations. So we need to make this quite clear. We're going to point it out to you today to show you in scripture that the dragon in the book of Revelations, in Revelations 12, 13, 16, 20, in the book of Isaiah 51, it's not talking about the Vatican. Even in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 29, it's not talking about the Vatican. All right, the dragon in the book of Revelations has got nothing to do with the Vatican. The dragon in the book of the Revelations is the Roman Empire. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire is America, also known as Babylon the Great. The daughter of Babylon, Edom, Idumea, has many different names in the Bible. The Great Whore, and so forth and so on. The dragon is not the Vatican. This place here is not the dragon in the book of Revelations, alright? So for all those people that keep on thinking that and saying that, because I had someone come up on the comment board yesterday that said the dragon is the Vatican, and I was doing a lesson yesterday to do with Esau's space defense forces that they're bringing up against Yahushai. So just want to make it clear, the dragon is not the Vatican. The Vatican has got nothing to do with the dragon, alright? It's a separate religious entity. It's not the dragon. The dragon is the Roman Empire. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire is America today. Why do we say that? Why do we say, first of all, why do we say America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire? So let's give you some examples of why. One, because of its military might. It is the most powerful military in the world. The Romans had the most powerful military in the world when they were the superpower. The Romans were the superpower of their day. Today, America is the superpower of our modern day. Right, in the 21st century, they are numero uno when it comes to the military might. Two, their morals have hit an all-time low. So homosexuality is rife in America. LGBTQ and all sorts of transgender, this gender, bio. There are no morals in America. It's a corrupt, immoral place. Rome became a corrupt and immoral place. I mean, just look at this. What you got to do is just review the emperors from Nero to Caligula. Nero used to dress up as a woman, right? Nero was the emperor after Caligula, I believe. He dressed up as a woman. Caligula was a complete sleeping with men, women, and anything in that. You had orgies going on in Rome. You had men dressed up as women. It was a complete madhouse, and it was totally corrupt. Rome, ancient Rome, alright? Three, America's what we call neoclassical architecture. Just look at the buildings in America. Look at how they built their buildings. Just go down to Washington and look at all of the different buildings in America and how they built their structure, their architecture, and they are exactly the same as Rome, as the Roman Republic, ancient Rome. They are no different. Four, they both have, their government systems are the same. You had the Senate in ancient Rome. America has what we call Senate, senators, Senate. They have a lower house and upper house. Rome had a similar setup of government, a lower government and an upper government, but it was mainly the senates were the main players in Rome, right? All the laws in America are passed in the Senate, what they call the senators, right? 5, the printing of money. That is going to be the demise of America. America no longer uses the gold standard, right? No longer has a gold standard for its American dollar. It prints money at will. It has no, the money has no true value because it is just printed at will. The gold standard no longer backs the American dollar. Basically, they don't have to have an X amount of gold in their vaults for them to print money. They just print money at will. That's what the Federal Reserve is there for. Rome did the same thing. Rome melted down all of their gold coins and silver coins that was real money, and mixed it with copper and brass to dilute it to create more currencies of lesser values. That was part of the collapse of Rome. All right. Also, because of the cost of running Rome, they went into debt. The government in Rome went into heavy debt, and that was part of the collapse of the Roman Republic. Same thing in America. The American government is over $22 trillion in debt. 6, the American eagle, the emblem for the Roman army was the eagle. The emblem for the United States Army is the eagle. Right? Everyone knows that. That's their emblem, is the eagle for the United States Army, whether it's Navy, air, land, sea, whatever you want to call it. Is the eagle is the emblem. 7, continuous wars. Rome was in continuous wars. Ancient Rome was in continuous wars before its collapse. America is in continuous wars. They've been in Afghanistan for 18 years, I believe. Right? They've been in Iraq for 15 years. They're in Libya. They're in Syria. Before that, you had the Vietnam War, the North Korean War. America are in continuous wars. Right? That's the other thing. 8, all of America's profits are made overseas. America does not have any manufacturing. The same thing with ancient Rome, the Roman Republic. All of their manufacturing of their goods were done outside of Rome. It wasn't done in Italy and Rome. It was done outside of Rome, in other countries that they controlled. Right? They imported literally everything. America, like I said, makes up 25% of the world population, but imports 25% of the world's resources. Everything that literally comes into America, that America sells, is made abroad. Same thing with the Roman Republic. 9, you got the collapse of the middle class. You can see it happening in your eyes in America. Homelessness is rife in America. Low paid jobs is rife in America, which is going to be part of its collapse. Same thing with ancient Rome. That's what caused it to collapse. Homelessness, the collapse of the middle class, and low paid jobs to where there was literally no jobs. Right? And then, what's the other great thing that caused the collapse of what that they used in ancient Rome to blind the people of what the real problems were? Was the gladiatorial games. You know, they would have 6 months of every year of gladiatorial games, gladiators fighting in the ring, killing each other, sports, chariot races, all different types of sports and entertainment to keep the people from blinded from the real problem. The same thing you have today in America. You've got NFL, you've got the NBA, you've got baseball, you've got all the celebrity TVs, you know, X Factors and this and that. You know, you've got all of these, you've got social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of these things to keep America people blind on what's going on. So that's how they were aligned with one another, in terms to know that America is the reincarnation of the Roman Republic. All right? They got their Caesar as their president, Trump. It's no different. The Caesars back then, you know, were called emperors. Today they just call them presidents. So that's what the alignment is, in terms of, if you want to know, why do we believe that America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire? Now, in the book of Revelations, the dragon is talking about ancient Rome, right? And what was going on there. So when it reads here, so we start in the book of Revelation chapter 12, when it says here, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed in the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. That woman is talking about the Israelites, right? When it says about crowned with 12 stars, the 12 stars represent what? The 12 tribes of Israel. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, right? Having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, right? That great red dragon is talking about these Edomite empires. When it says that great red dragon there, it's talking about the Roman Empire. When it says having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, Right? So those 7 heads literally represent the 7 empires that we've had, or that America have had, should I say. So if we was to go to here, Revelations, we're in chapter 12. And the 10 horns represents who? What we know today as the European Union, right? That's what that represents there. And having 7 crowns on his heads, right? The red dragon, the red, as you know, Esau, Edom is red, right? So when we say Esau, Edom, and we're talking about the Edomites' whole structure, wherever they are, represents what? Represents Rome. So the Edomite structure in Europe also represents Rome, all right? In the way how they govern their fellow countries, right? So the red dragon itself is talking about the Roman Empire. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire is America, but America's imperialism is in all of its Edomite countries, its fellow countries, from Britain to France to Germany to Belgium to Sweden to Australia to New Zealand, everywhere where these Edomites rule, right, and have control of those countries. That's what it represents. It is no different anywhere where they are. So it says here, hold on. I'm going to pull out a precept here for you. Revelation 17. Seven kings represents. And if I go to Revelation 17, I'm going to show you. Right. So if we go to Revelation, I'm going to quickly show you here. In Revelation 17, the significance of the seven heads upon the 10 horns. Oops. So Revelation 17 and 11. Yeah. Right. Should we start here? Start here. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, right? So we was just in here, and it says here, and there appeared a wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, right? So if we go to here, and it says here, and here is the mind of which has the wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains in which the woman sitteth, right? And there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So those 7 heads, that represents the 7 mountains, which are the 7 kings, which are the same here, which represents having the 7 heads here. Those are talking about the 7 Edomite empires. The Greeks, the Romans, the Germania Minor, Germania Major, the Spanish, the British, and then the Americans. Alright? That's what that represents, because, whoops, when we go to, when it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Right? And the beast that was and is not, and even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. Right? That's America. Alright? America is, when it says, and the beast that was and is not, and even he is the 8th, and he is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. Because the 7th was who? Was Britain. America comes out of Britain. Britain gave birth to America. And when it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which has received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Those 10 kings, which are the 10 horns, are the same thing we're talking about here. We spoke about the 7 heads and the 10 horns. That's the European Union. France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Sweden, all of the countries that make up the European Union. Those were the 10 first countries that made up the European Union. Britain was one of them as well. All right. And when it says 10 horns and 7 crowns were upon his head, that's what that is. Okay. So if we go down to, we can continue reading here, and it says, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. The third part of the stars that it speaks about are the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right, because Levi was split amongst the 12 tribes, but it made up some of the southern kingdom. All right, that's what the third part of the stars of heaven are. All right, and did cast them to the earth. All right. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So at that time, the king was Herod. He was the one that wanted to devour Yahushua. Right? That was the child it's speaking of. Herod was the king. Right? He wasn't an Israelite. Herod was an Edomite. Because once again, I want you to understand that the dragon is the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire was the power at the time. Remember, Herod was a what do you call it? A thingy bob of the Roman Empire. What's the word that they would use? Let me just bring it up so I can get the right word. King Herod. He was trying to get the right word that you would use. What they call him. Herod was known as Herod the Great, Herod the First, a Roman king, a Roman client king. That's the word I'm looking for. See it there? It says, Herod, also known as Herod the Great, Herod the First, was a Roman client king of Judea, referred to as the Herodian kingdom. All right? And that's what he was. He was a client king under the Romans. But they were Edomites. Herod was an Edomite. So are the Romans Edomites. I just want you to understand they are all Edomites. So when it says here that, and his tail drew the third part of the stars. The third part of the stars are the 3 tribes, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. All right? And did cast them to the earth. All right? And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered. So that's talking about King Herod. But Herod is an Edomite. The Roman Empire is the dragon, but the dragon also represents the Edomites. Right? This is why it says, behold, a great red dragon. Because remember, the so-called white man is not white. He is different shades of red. So I just want you to get that understanding when I'm telling you, talking about the dragon, because sometimes the dragon will be referring to the person, but that person is a representation of that empire. Herod was a client king, so he was a representation of the Roman Empire. He was a client king of the Roman Empire. So when it says here, and behold, a great red dragon, red is talking about, it's Esau, the Edomites, because the dragon represents the Edomites. The Edomites was the Roman Empire. Herod was also an Edomite, right? He goes back to, his father was, Herod the Great, and Antipater was his father. His father was a general in the Roman army, all right? So, the red dragon represents the Roman Empire, but also is talking about the Edomites as a whole. So when it says there, the 7 heads represented the 7 empires, which I spoke about before. The 7 different empires, the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, Germania Minor, Germania Major, the French, the British, right? And then the 8th, what we spoke about in Revelation 17, the 8th that came off the 7th, when it says there were 7 kings, those are the 7 empires, those 7 kings are the 7 heads. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. 7 mountains, mountains means governments, rulerships, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. Those 7 kings are those 7 empires. Those 7 kings are the 7 heads that it speaks about here in Revelation 12, when it says, behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads, because those were 7 Edomite empires. So this is why you must understand that the dragon represents the Roman Empire, but it also represents Esau, Edom. Just get an understanding of where we're going here, where I'm taking this, yeah? So it says, and the 10 horns is the European Union, and 7 crowns were upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, all right? And did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman. So that dragon is talking about Herod the Great? Which was the first one? Herod the Great was from Herod, 37-4 BC. Yeah, Herod the Great, because he was the one, because Yahushua, he was the one that was looking for Yahushua to kill him. He was the one that was told about the coming of this king of Judah was coming, and he was going to be the king of kings and lord of lords. So Herod was in fear of this person. So when it says here, and the dragon stood before the woman, that's talking about King Herod. But King Herod is what we just showed you here. He is what? A Roman client king of Judea. He is under the Roman. He's only been put in power because the Romans made him the king, and he's their client king. He answers to the Romans. But Herod is an Edomite, just like how the Romans are Edomites. Just so you understand this, all right? So let's go back to Revelations. So when it says, and the dragon stood before the woman it's talking about which was ready to be delivered. It's talking about the deliverance. That's talking about Yahushua, for to devour the child. The child is Yahushua as soon as it was born. Remember, Herod was looking for this child. He was killing every child that was under 2 years old, right, male child, because he heard about the prophecy from the wise men, the prophets that came and told him about the prophecy of this child, the king of Judah was coming. So he was looking for that child. So when it says the dragon here, it's talking about Herod, but ultimately it's talking about the Edomites, because Herod was a client king for Rome. All right. And she brought forth a man-child, which is Yahushua, and was due to rule all nations with a rod of iron. As we know, that's to come. All right, that's to come. He's going to rule all nations with a rod of iron when the second coming of our Lord comes to gather the elect of Israel and to bring judgment and war to Esau, Edom, and the other nations. So that prophecy is still to come. This is why I say to you that I said this yesterday, that when you're reading scriptures, that when it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nothing is in chronological order. It goes in the future, in the past, to the present time, and so forth, right? That's why the scripture says in Isaiah chapter 27, we'll quickly bring it out for you. I think it's Isaiah 27. Isaiah 27. No, Isaiah 28, I believe I want. Yeah, Isaiah 28. That's what it says in Isaiah 28, right? Just so you understand how this thing works. Who shall we teach knowledge? And whom shall we make to understand doctrine? This is what we're doing right now. We're teaching you knowledge, and we're teaching you how to understand doctrine. Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Not everybody is weaned from the milk or drawn from the breast. Some people are babies in understanding this. The first time they're tuning in, or they've just been into the truth for a year or 2 years. They're still babies. They're still sucking their mother's breast. But there are others that are out there, brothers, and even some sisters that are out there that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. They've been in this truth for 5, 6, 7 years. They have a much more deeper understanding. So when we're going through the scriptures, it clicks with them straight away. We don't have to keep repeating ourselves for them to understand what we're trying to show them, right? For precept must be upon precept. This is what I'm doing. Precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little, Revelations 12 and 3. There a little, Revelation 17 and 11. Right? So this is why you see us go back and forth. This is how the scriptures are. Nothing's in chronological order when you're dealing with the scriptures. Just so you understand that. All right? So, right, so verse 5 says, no, it says, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered to devour the child as soon as it was born. That was King Herod. He was looking to kill Yahushua. All right? He is a representation of the dragon in that particular verse, but the dragon is Edom. The dragon is the Roman Empire. He is a client king of the Roman Empire, and he also is an Edomite. Right? The dragon has got nothing to do with the Vatican City. This is the whole point of this lesson here. This edification, that the dragon has nothing to do with the Vatican City that people keep on saying. All right? And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. All right? So, as you know, Yahushua came, he preached to the disciples, he showed his miracles, and he came and he died on the cross, and he went up back to his Father. All right? That's the man-child that came. He did what he needed to do. He came and died for the sins of Israel. He was the final blood sacrifice for the children of Israel, right? And then he went back up to his throne. He came, after 3 days, he raised from his grave. He spent 40 days with the disciples, and then the angels of the Lord came in their chariots to come and collect him and took him to his throne, all right? That's what that's talking about. So, you know, if you're in the truth, you can see that as clear as day. That's exactly what it's talking about. That dragon has nothing to do with the Vatican, what people keep on saying, all right? It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness. That's the Israelites. That's when we fled into the wilderness. When did that happen? That happened in 70 AD. Yahushua told the Israelites about the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. All right? And that some will flee into the mountains, some will flee into the rooftops, and so forth and so on. All right? That's in the book of Matthew 24. All right? It's in all of the the books of the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right? It says, where she has a place prepared for of the Most High. That's when we fled to the west coast of Africa. All right? Before we went on to those slave ships. That's when we spent 1,500 years on the west coast of Africa. But when we fled there was 70 AD. All right? Daniel speaks about that as well. The abomination and desolation of Jerusalem. That's what that's speaking about. That they should feed her there 1,260 days. All right? It's talking about a period of time. That period of time was the 1,500 years that we spent on the west coast of Africa before Esau Edom came back down on us. All right? And then this is going to the future again. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Michael and his angels ain't coming to fight against Vatican City. Vatican City is 1 square mile. I just want you to understand this. Michael ain't coming to fight against Vatican City. He's not coming to fight against this little place here. Michael's coming to fight against Esau Edom. So when it says here, and America, which is their military might, their military power, their stronghold is America. That's why we tell you again that the dragon is America. It's the Roman Empire, but America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, right? Which is Esau's stronghold. So the dragon represents America, but it also represents the Edomites, all right? So when it says here, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon is America. And the rest of the Edomite nations that are going to join forces with them. And the dragon fought and his angels. So, what angels, or what? Because the angels represents their strength, their power, their armies. What army has the Vatican City got to come and fight against the Archangel Michael and the celestial angels that are going to be coming in the chariots, right? To fight this war. What army has the Vatican got? The Vatican itself, let me just show you. Just so you get an understanding of how stupid it is when people say about this Vatican City, alright? The Vatican City is a state surrounded by Rome. Italy is the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church. It's home to the Pope it's home to the Pope and the trove of iconic and art and architecture. Its Vatican museums house ancient Roman sculptures such as framed Laocoons and his sons, as well as Renaissance frescoes and Raphael rooms, so on and so on. Right? So it says there, Vatican City, area 44, I think that's hectares. Population 1,000. Do you understand how stupid it sounds when people say that the dragon in the book of Revelations is Vatican City? I hope you can see that clearly. Michael and his archangels is coming to fight against 1,000 people in Vatican City, and probably half of them are priests and cardinals and bishops and so forth, and another quarter of them are probably workers and maids and whatever. And then you've got there's about 200 Vatican soldiers, or I forget what they call them, that work in there. I mean, I hope you understand how stupid it sounds when people talk about the Vatican City is the dragon in the book of Romans, right? Or it's Babylon the Great. It's such a foolish and I'm not joking. Everything about it is so foolish. It says a population of 1,000. It is the smallest sovereign state in the... You see that? It is the smallest sovereign state in the world by both area and population. Who's coming to fight against... Michael and his archangels are coming to fight against the smallest state in the whole of this planet that has the smallest population, that's got no army, no nothing. The Lord is coming alongside Michael and the archangels to come and fight against this place. It would take one angel and one chariot to wipe out the Vatican City. Remember, the Lord sent what? The Lord sent 2 angels, just to put this in perspective, right, people? The Lord sent 2 angels to wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah, 5 cities. 2 angels, remember, came down to wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah. But yet, Michael and all of these angels are coming to wipe out this place that is the size of, that's the smallest sovereign state in the world, and has the smallest population in the world. I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand how stupid and ridiculous this is. It's because people don't know the scriptures. When people say this, they say this because they hear someone else say it, or they heard it in a conversation somewhere, or because the Pope lives in the Vatican and that's the head of the Roman Catholic Church. It's got to be without having any understanding of the scriptures and what they're reading, and any understanding of what the significance of the significance of the Vatican City, in a sense that it is just this religious headquarters for Esau. It's just Esau Edom's religious HQ. That's all it is. The Lord sent 2 angels to take out 5 cities. Sodom and Gomorrah was what? Was 5 cities. And the Lord sent 2 angels to wipe it out. 2. So why would Michael and all of these angels coming alongside the Lord? Because at this time here, the Lord is going to be coming. And there is war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And if the dragon was the Vatican City, you know, I just want you to get a proper understanding of how stupid that is when people say that. That's why you have to be careful of certain people that are trying to show you the scriptures when they don't have any understanding. The dragon is the Roman Empire. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire is America. The dragon also represents Esau Edom. The Edomites are in Europe. They're in Australia, New Zealand. But their military stronghold is America. So this is what he's talking about, because America is going to be leading that war against Michael and his archangels and Yahushua. America's going to be at the forefront. Who is the head of NATO? The head of NATO is the United States of America. But the beast in the book of Revelations is NATO. But America is part of NATO. So they are part of the beast. America is the dragon, but the dragon also represents Esau Edom. So all those Edomite nations also are part of the dragon, but it ultimately is talking about America, because that is the military stronghold. That's who Michael and his archangels are coming to fight against, and then all the other nations are going to join in to help the dragon. I'll just quickly read a few more down here. And it says, look, we'll just read down. It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. So all of the dragon's aeroplanes, right? All of these fighting planes and stealth planes and so forth are going to be shot down out of the sky by the chariots of the Lord, which Michael and his archangels are going to be leading alongside Yahushua. They're all going to be shut down. There's no place found anymore in heaven. And it says, and the great dragon, which is Esau Edom, America, was cast out, that old serpent called the devil. And Satan, the word devil means to deceive. The word Satan means what? Adversary, which deceiveth the whole world. So American imperialism is what's gone to the four corners of the world. Listen, you know when American imperialism is reaching a country, when you know they've got a McDonald's, a Burger King, or a Kentucky. All right? It's a simple thing. You've got simple markers to tell you if American imperialism has reached in a certain country. No matter what they're practicing, what type of religion they could be Buddhist, Islamist, no matter what it is. If there's a McDonald's there, if you can find a McDonald's there, or a Burger King, or a Kentucky, or a Wendy's, right? Then you know American imperialism is in that country, right? And then homosexuality is another part of American imperialism, right? So when it says here, and the great dragon, that great dragon is the United States of America. That's what that's speaking of. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. His angels are his armies that are going to be in their planes and their F-fighter jets and their stealth planes and their drones and whatever things they're flying out there to fight against the Lord and his chariots are all going to be cast out of the heavens. The angels represent the armies, the men that are in the armies, the actual people that's going to be in this dragon's army. The Vatican hasn't got no army. Remember, it's the smallest sovereign state in the world, both by area and population. There's no army there. There's no who can they fight against? I'm not being funny. It's so plain as day when you actually understand and see what it is that we're speaking of. When you take the time to listen. Because too many people will come on a comment board and start saying, oh, this is that, and that. And they're making statements. It'd be different if they were asked and they said to me, is the Vatican the dragon? No. But they're making statements saying it is. And we had a few people yesterday that was making statements saying, oh, the Vatican is the dragon. I'm like, come on, man. I didn't have time to reply because I was so deep into the scriptures yesterday. That's why I thought today I have to make it clear to those that tune in and those that speak to people about who we are, that we are the Israelites and so forth, that what we're teaching them is the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth through the Holy Spirit. And we're showing them in the scriptures and we're giving them an understanding on how we know these things. We're not just making it up as we go along. So it says here, what verse did I want there? I'm in verse 9, 10. Just jump down a few verses here. Verse 13. Yeah. And verse 13. I'm trying to hit everywhere it talks about the dragon in the scriptures, in Revelations. That's why I'm jumping around as well. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. All right? So now we've gone back again. Back into time now. When the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman which has brought forth the man-child. Right? And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle that she might fly into the wilderness. That was when we fled to the west coast of Africa. This is talking about 70 AD. When it says, and the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman. The woman represents Israel, the Israelites, which brought forth the man-child. The man-child was Yahushai. He comes from the tribe of Judah. And when it says, and to the woman were given 2 wings, the woman is talking about Israel, the Israelites, was given 2 wings of a great eagle. That was our way out. It's symbolic when it says we didn't as Israelites jump on a great eagle's wings and he flew us out of Jerusalem. Just so you understand, right? It's symbolic. That's how we escaped. 1.5 million Israelites escaped and went to the west coast of Africa. And hundreds of thousands, a few 100,000 went up into Western Europe, Southern Europe, should I say. That she might fly into the wilderness. That wilderness was the west coast of Africa, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. You understand that? The serpent, again, is not talking about we were running from some big snake. The serpent is talking about Esau, Edom, the Edomites. When it says he was nourished for a time and times and half a time, it's talking about a period of time. That period of time that we spent on the west coast was roughly 1,500 years. Until the Europeans came down into the west coast of the west coast of Africa around the beginning of the 15th century, 1401. So when it says a time, nourished for a time and half a time, it's talking about a period of time. And the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Right? So that's the Romans that came for us. Just so you understand that. All right? And the earth helped the woman. The woman is the Israelites. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. That flood is the armies that came on Jerusalem, 70 AD. When it says the earth helped the woman, 1.5 million Israelites were able to escape. Over 1 million Israelites died in the siege of 70 AD under Emperor Vespasian and his son, General Titus. Over 1 million of us died during that siege. And remember, the siege started from around 66 AD, and then they took Jerusalem in 70 AD. That's when Jerusalem fell and the temple fell, and they robbed all the things out of the temple. Right? You'll see they've got the art, they call it Titus's arches everywhere. They've got it in Europe and France, where they're showing the Romans carrying out the menorca and all the different gold cups and the epods and the things that we used in the temple. They were carried out. You'll see that. They got one in Regent's Park here in England. It's called Titus's Ark. In most of these European countries, they've got it. They've got one in Germany. They have one in Paris. That's a remembrance, a commemoration of when they took down the Israelites and burnt the temple down. And it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman. So it's not talking about the Vatican. It's not talking about the Vatican. No. get some images up again. It's not talking about this place here, people. All right, when it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, it's talking about the Romans, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Do you understand? 70 AD, which keep the commandments of the Most High. Because the most zealous Israelites, Jews, were still living in Jerusalem. A lot of Jews, Israelites, were living in Greece, in all the different places that Paul wrote to, right? Galatia, Ephesians, the Philippians, all those different places that Paul wrote to, right? Some were in Rome, the Romans, right? The 7 churches that it speaks of. You remember when he says to the 7 churches, I'm going to quickly just pull it out here. Unto the angel of the church of Thyatira, right? Unto the angel, where is it? To the church of Smyrna, unto the angel of the church of Pergamos. So all these different places we were spread out. We were in there. But this is talking about those Jews that were still living in Jerusalem, which keep the commandments of the Most High and the testimony of Yahushua. Who had the testimony of Yahushua? The disciples, the Christians, which just means the anointed, the followers of Christ. They had the testimony of Yahushua. How did they have this testimony? Because he came and he preached amongst them, didn't he? He preached amongst the disciples. He gave them the word and he said, go and seek the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He came to Paul on the road to Damascus and said, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me so? And that's when he enlightened Saul. That's when Saul didn't realize that Yahushua was the Son of the Most High. Paul was what? Saul was hunting them. Hunting any followers of Yahushua. The 70 disciples that Yahushua got and said, go out in twos and go to the people and feed the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So all those that had the testimony of Yahushua were those that walked with him. Also those that came to when Yahushua came and he was doing his preaching. Sometimes it was 5,000 people, 10,000 people. Everyone knew about him. So they had the testimony of him. So this is not talking about the Vatican Church once again. And the dragon was wroth. The dragon is the Roman Empire. Today it is America. I gave you at the beginning of the lesson the 10 different points to show you the similarities between the Roman Empire and America, because America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire today. And was wroth with the woman. The woman is, like I said, the woman represents Israel, the Israelites. So let's pull out a few more scriptures here. Revelations 13. Verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, which is the Roman Empire, which is the American reincarnation, gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The beast, remember, represents who? NATO. NATO are who? The European Union. Who's the head of NATO? America. So America gave it its seat, gave NATO its seat and its authority, because he is the military power that leads NATO. That's why it says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Just so you understand that. And when it talks about which I saw was like unto the leopard is talking about the Greek Empire. Because remember, the Romans took many things, customs from the Greeks to build their empire. They took all the Greek gods and renamed them Saturn, Jupiter and so forth. They took Zeus and Hades and all the different Greek gods and Apollonius and called them Saturn and Mars and all of that. All right? The leopard, it's talking about the Greeks. All right? Alexander the Great. And his feet was the feet of a bear, the Russians. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Who's that? The UK. Just look at what the symbol of the emblem is for the British flag. It's the lion. And the dragon gave him his power. The dragon is America, the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, not Vatican City. Vatican City ain't giving no one his power. Vatican City is the head of their religious arm of Esau. We understand that and we know that, but it is not the dragon in the book of Revelations. And his seat gave him his power and his seat with great authority. Why? How did he give the beast his power and his seat with great authority? Because the beast represents NATO. NATO is what? All the members of the European Union, right? And Turkey, Turks are Edomites. They're members of NATO. America is the head of NATO. That's why America went to all of those NATO allies and said they've all got to start putting more money into NATO when it comes to buying weapons and arms and defense, because America provides the majority of all of that for them. And they know that. Excuse me. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. All right? How did the world wander after the beast? Because the beast, when it was wounded, was the end of the Roman Empire. Remember, these NATO allies, these Edomites are, all these Edomites are what? They are all of the reincarnation. All of their systems are based on Rome, just like America. So the Roman Empire was wounded, and all the world wandered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. Because remember what these Edomites did. They came from the Caucasus Mountains, came back out of the mountains to take back control of Europe. So when it says there, and his wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast, his wound was healed because after the Roman Empire had fell away, you had the rulership of the Byzantine Empire for 1,000 years. They call it the Dark Ages because Europe was ruled by dark-skinned people, people of color, so-called Negroes, black people, yeah? Just so you understand, for over 1,000 years. From the taking over of the Roman Empire, that's why the Roman Empire went from being called the Roman Empire to what? To the Holy Roman Empire. Because that's when Jake, the so-called black man, Israelites, became the new emperors of the Roman Empire. And that goes right back to, I forgot the name of the emperor again. He was in Gladiator. I can't think of his name. It's gone from me. It'll come back to me. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. His deadly wound was healed. The Roman Empire, these Edomites, came back into power. Remember, the Romans are Edomites. They came out of the Caucasus Mountains. The deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they came, and then they started taking over Europe, Western Europe, royal families, a bit at a time, until they became the new power in Europe. They became the new royalty, the new kings and the new queens. And it says, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. The dragon is America. Once again here, it's speaking about America. Gave power unto the beast. The beast is NATO. America he gave power to the beast because the dragon, America, is the head of NATO. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. And they say that, who is able to make war with NATO, with America at the head? You've got America, then you've got Britain, France, Germany, Sweden. There's about 27 countries that make up NATO. Turkey, all these different countries. Who's able to make war with him? Very few would try to make war with NATO because they have to deal with that superpower, the United States of America, who is the head of NATO. That's why they worship the dragon. Why? Because he's the one that puts fear in everyone, which gave power unto the beast. Because without the dragon, without America, in a sense, NATO wouldn't be as fearful, that the beast wouldn't be as fearful, wouldn't have all that power if it wasn't for the dragon. Because the dragon, which is America, is the head of NATO. So that's why it says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. Because America, with all its military might, gives power unto NATO. Because he's the head of NATO, which is the beast. So they worship the beast. So they worship NATO. Because they know so their biggest backer is the superpower. But the greatest military the world has ever seen. That's why it says, saying, who is like unto the beast? And who is able to make war with him? Tell me. I mean, they're going to do it. They're going to go to war. But I'm just showing you so you can understand what's going on here. All right? Revelation 16 and 3. I just want to go directly to the place that it speaks of the dragon in the book of Revelation, so you can understand it is definitely not talking. Who the hell is scared of the Vatican? This place that's got a population of 1,000. The smallest sovereign state in the world with the smallest population in the world. What army has the Vatican got? The Vatican's power is in its religious authority to the Catholics, to all those that are following Jesus Christ. You know, white Jesus. That's what its powers to. It's got no military power. Come on, man. If America invaded Italy tomorrow, everything belongs to them. Everything, the Vatican, everything. Because they are the military power. Are you kidding me? No one's fearful of the Vatican. The Vatican's only got power in the religious realm of this world. In what things are done religiously around the world. It's got no military power. And remember, the Vatican is also controlled by secret societies. So, you know, it itself has got no power. The secret societies that control it have got the power. The Illuminati have the power. Revelation 16 verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. So when it says the 3 unclean spirits come out of the mouth of the dragon, it's talking about, this is here, at the mouth of the dragon, it's talking about London, Rome, and America. So that's where the Vatican comes in now. One of those unclean spirits is the Vatican. All right, just so you understand that. And out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. All right? So when it says, I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. The false prophet is the Vatican, the Catholic Church, white Jesus Christ. The mouth of the dragon is America. Out of the mouth of the beast, it's talking about the European Union. And in the European Union, its money place is London, the city of London. But it's talking about the European Union, basically. Those are the 3 unclean spirits. Like frogs that come out of the mouth of the dragon. And out the mouth of the beast, and out the mouth of the false prophet. At the mouth of the dragon is America. That's the first unclean spirit. At the mouth of the beast is the European Union. At the mouth of the false prophet is the Vatican. For they are what? Spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Almighty. Because like I said, all of these nations are going to join together when the Lord comes. I spoke about that yesterday in the video that I put up. Esau's space defense, announces space defense systems against Yahushua and Michael and the angels. They're all going to gather together. NATO, the European Union is going to get all of its other enemies, so-called enemies around the world, to become its allies, like Russia, China, Iran. They're all going to become allies of the European Union and America and NATO and so forth to gather them together to the battle of that great day of the power Almighty, which is the Most High. Yahushua sent the Most High sent His Son Yahushua and Michael and the archangels. All right. So, Revelations 20, verse 1, it says, And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, right? That old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So now it's talking about the Europe, the Roman Empire. When it says, and he laid hold on the dragon it's talking about is the Roman Empire, that old serpent, which is the devil, the deceiver, and Satan, the adversary, and bound him 1,000 years. Those were the 1,000 years that the Byzantine Empire came into rule. That was when the Roman Empire went from being called the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire, right? And that's when it went down in power. That's when around 300 AD, after I think Constantine the Great, it went down completely in power. And then the Byzantine Empire was the new superpower right up until the 14th century. That was 1,000 years of it being bound, Esau, Edom. This is when all of Europe was ruled by so-called black people, people of color, who were Israelites. And some of them were Hamites from the coast of Africa. Some of them were Japhites, but mainly Israelites. People of color ruled Europe for over 1,000 years. That's when the dragon was bound. The dragon is the Roman Empire. America, reincarnation of the Roman Empire. It's simple to join the dots together. That old serpent is talking about the Roman Empire, which is the devil, the deceiver, the false accuser, and Satan, which means what? Your adversary, bound him 1,000 years. The Roman Empire went down around 300, 400 BC, so AD. It finally went down. It lasted for about 430 years, the Roman Empire, in its might and power before it went down. And then the Byzantine Empire came in. You had the Moors that ruled most of southern Europe, southern France, Spain, Portugal. The Moors were Israelites. So Europe was ruled by dark-skinned people, people of color, so-called black people, for over 1,000 years. After the demise of the Roman Empire, that's when it was bound 1,000 years. It's not talking about the Vatican. It didn't lay hold on the Vatican, that old serpent. The Vatican wasn't bound 1,000 years. The Vatican had been going. They still had popes still going in the Vatican. It's just that the rulership now was people of color that ruled all of Europe, took down the Roman Empire. Isaiah 51:9, did I want? So, art thou not he that has cut Rehab and wounded the dragon? Okay. So that's talking about the city of Jericho. Rehab, that was Jericho. That's talking about the days of Joshua and that. But I think the only other example I want to give you here is Ezekiel 29. Whoops. 29. Ezekiel chapter 29 verse 3. So here, when it says here, speak and say, thus says the Lord power, Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon. So now it's using the metaphor dragon to represent Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And this is actually talking about ancient pharaohs, ancient Egypt. It's not talking about modern Egypt, America. This is talking about ancient Egypt. But this is just another example of the scriptures using the dragon to represent the adversaries of the Israelites. This time it's talking about Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon that lieth in the midst of his rivers, which has said, my river is my own and I have made it for myself. This is talking about ancient Egypt. So that's another place that's showing you where it uses the terminology of the dragon, but this time it's actually not referring to the Roman Empire or America. It's actually talking about ancient Egypt. How do we know this? You just got to read it down. It says, but I will put hooks in thy jaws, and I will cause the fish of thy rivers to stick into thy scales, and I will bring thee up out of the midst of the rivers, and all the fish of the rivers shall stick into thy scales. And then if you read down here, and it says, therefore, thus says the Lord power, behold, I will bring a sword upon thee, and cut off man and beast out of thee. And the land of Egypt shall be desolate and waste, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, because he has said, the river is mine, and I have made it. And this is what we read up here, when he says here, I'm against thee, O Pharaoh, because the great dragon that lieth in the midst of his rivers, which has said, my river is my own, and I have made it of myself. All right, which, as the Lord has shown him, say he didn't make that, it's the Lord make all of that. So when it says there, thus says the Lord thy power, behold, I will bring a sword upon thee, and cut off man and beast out of thee, and the land of Egypt shall be desolate and waste, and they shall know that I am the Lord, because he has said, the river is mine, I have made it. Behold, therefore I am against thee and against thy rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate, from the tower of Syene even to the border of Ethiopia. No foot of man shall pass through it, nor foot of beast shall pass through it, neither shall it be inhabited 40 years. I will make the land of Egypt desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and her cities among the cities that are laid waste shall be desolate 40 years. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, I will disperse them through the countries. So this is talking about ancient Egypt. But my point I was trying to make here is that this is the dragon now in the Bible again, but it's referring to, in this particular text, to ancient Egypt. Not modern Egypt, America, or the Roman Empire, or anything like that. So I don't really want to go too deep into this because I don't think I needed to. But I think I've made it quite clear to you that the dragon in the book of Revelations is not talking about the Vatican City. or anything to do with the Vatican. It's talking about the Roman Empire and the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, which is America, which also sometimes is talking about representing Edom as a whole, the Edomites. But it is never referring to the Vatican City as the dragon in any scripture in the book of Revelations. I hope that's clear to you that tuned in. That's it. I don't think I need to say any more. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashim, Rakah, Kodash, Tawada, Shalom to the brothers out there and to the sisters out there that tuned in live, and Shalom to the Akiyams that may listen later. I pray this was an edifying lesson to you and that you get a proper understanding that the Vatican is not the dragon in the book of Revelations. Okay? Shalom Akiyams. Shalom.